Hey, what's going on, guys? So just recently we took a look at Gundam Converge Volume 24, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Volume 25 here. So love my Gundam Converge stuff, and this one has a really nice mix of mobile suits included in this set once again, where we have some lead Gundams, some grunt units, some very grunt units, and even like a support unit here with the backpacks. So here in Volume 25 we have the Strike Freedom Gundam Type 2. Interesting that it's not called the Mighty Strike Freedom Gundam, but the Strike Freedom Gundam Type 2, the Proud Defender, which would be the backpack of the, what I guess would be Mighty Strike Freedom, I guess, once they're combined. We also have the Wing Gundam and both of the Yakudogas, Kess's Yakudoga and Guinea's Yakudoga, and then also a ball twin set. So just like with the HG balls, we get two in a box. That'll be very cool, and I'm not sure if we're going to have any variations with the different types of cannons, maybe for those or something. We'll see once we tear open into the box, but as you can see, this is a store display box where we have 10 in here, but we'll probably only have one of each of the Yakudogas and then probably two of everything else. So let's go ahead, open it up and see here for ourselves. So yep, there's our two ball sets, our two different Yakudogas, two Wing Gundams, two Proud Defenders, and two Strike Freedom Gundam Type 2s right there. And so going in order as we do, we're going to start here with number 291, which would be the Strike Freedom Gundam Type 2. And very interesting that this has a different backpack than obviously what we got on the HG kit, with the HG kit being the Mighty Strike Freedom Gundam, which as you can see here is the combination, like I was saying, of the two. And so I guess the backpack parts that we can see on here right there at the moment are going to be ones that we're going to end up, I guess, maybe not using once you have them connected, so that'll be interesting. But right here on the front of the box, you can see a couple little close-up images right there, and those are going to be in the main colors of the suit, like the accent colors, in this case being blue, red, and yellow. And then on the back, we have a couple more images there showing, like I said, that combination, and then some information here in Japanese. And we can see the lineup for volume 25 here at the bottom there as well. All right, let's go ahead, pop open the box here. On the inside, we're going to have all of our contents and our gum, of course, our Bandai chewing gum, very nice. And just to give you a taste of kind of how these are packaged, we've got the base, backpack, and V-fin here protected with a little cardboard piece there. And in the other bag, we've got the main figure, the rifle, a couple of hand parts, and the other rifle there, it looks like. So let me go ahead and get these put together. All right, and then here is how it's going to look once assembled. Interestingly, before we even get to the Proud Defender, we've got some option parts where we have closed fists for this, which do look pretty nice. I'm not exactly sure why you might want to use those, but in case you do. But you do also then have the holding hands, weapon holding hands, and rifles there included. So you could just have one rifle in hand, or you could have both, because we do have these for the left and the right side, which I'll show you here in just a second. So it's always nice to have some options. As you can see, one of my wings here on the backpack got a little bit curved there. I'll have to straighten that out. And those can also be rotated, kind of up and down, which there's not really too much point to that. As I've talked about before in these reviews, these are like somewhat vaguely articulated, but it's not really to the point that these are like really meant to be posed. They're kind of meant to be just fixed pose figures, but they do happen to have a little bit of articulation in that, like the head can turn, the arms can rotate there, as I just showed you. But as always, they look really nice here on the base, and you do have full detail up underneath the feet, obviously aside from the hard point for plugging onto the base. But I don't always show that on all of these because I feel like it's a detail that most people are never ever going to see. But in case you did want to actually display these on like some sort of glass cabinet or something, not on the display base where you could actually see the underside of the feet, they are fully detailed there as well. Obviously the painting here on the backside not going to be quite as detailed as what we have on the front side, as most of the focus is usually on the front with these. But those clear orange parts for the eyes catch the light really nicely. Those look good. The painted gold parts look really nice in there as well. Anywhere where we have these white armor parts, that could definitely do with a little bit of detailing in there with some panel lining, giving this a coat of gloss coat, and then you can go over it just with the standard accent wash panel liner and bring out some of the details on these figures. Is definitely something that you can do, and I would recommend. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, here around on the back, there's definitely a lot of details there that you can bring out, even on like the back skirt, the back of the legs here, the back of the head as well. So with one of the rifles in hand here for an example, there's how that's going to look. It looks really, really nice, I have to say. So this looks great. I'm glad to have two of these in the box. This is a perfect example of why it's good to have two, because I would want to keep one like this and then have the other one displayed with the Proud Defender backpack on. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one here next. Kind of interesting that they made this just as like a separate unit, I guess. Ultimately, I guess the only other way that they could have done it would be to make it as like an EX set, which I feel like it's been a while since they've come out with any Converge EX sets, which is usually like a larger set that comes with something a little bit more than what they can fit in one of these standard boxes here like this. But here on the front, once again, you can see this is going to include the katana and the backpack here. This is just going to be able to plug onto the back. Very interestingly, we do have a different photo there. As you can see, the top photo is the same. The bottom photo is going to be a little bit different as what we can see on the back of the box here. This not actually showing the katana in hand, but as we saw on the back side of the box for the Freedom Gundam, that you can actually put the katana in hand. So we'll see how well that is going to actually work. Hopefully that part is not warped. Anything that's kind of like a long, straight, thin part does tend to just get warped just from being packaged in these boxes. But it looks like they made the good choice of packaging this with that protective cardboard in there to help to keep that straight. And we're also going to have included here a clear stand for just if you want to display the backpack just flying on its own, just the Proud Defender backpack just as its own unit. You can absolutely do that here, it looks like, as well. So let's go ahead and get this put together. All right, here it is. So it looks really nice, I have to say. It does look really good. The only thing it's missing is going to be, of course, that like pink lining bits of the backpack kind of opened up, which obviously we can't really do in this case, which is unfortunate. Would have been cool, but definitely I would say, again, if you wanted to spray this with some gloss coat, take some metallic pink paint and kind of paint that in there with just some enamel paint. You could paint that in there, or a Gundam marker basically. That's what you could use for that, and I think that would definitely look pretty cool. But the nice deep panel lines that you have on there do create a pretty natural shadow that kind of give the appearance of some nice panel lining on there, even though it doesn't have the panel lining in there. The katana is just very simply hooked into this part right there on the top. And like I said, I do like the fact that I've got two of these in the box, because I would like to ultimately, whenever I have my full Converge display, be able to display these separately like this, and then also have one where they're combined. But for our purposes here today, we go ahead and combine these and show you guys how this is going to look. You can just pop off the backpack here and then pop on the Proud Defender there, and there you have it. That's how that's going to look. Looks really, really good there, I have to say. And then of course the wings do open up. You can open these up. Those will move. I think it's like the back wing maybe is fixed. Yeah, so it's just the front wing and the gold part are the ones that you can move, and the back wing's fixed. So opened up, it's going to look like that, and it looks really, really nice. Yeah, so, and then the katana should, I guess, just fit in the holding hand here instead of the rifle. And there we go. I put the other rifle into the left-hand side there, and a katana in hand here in the right, and that does look really, really nice. I do kind of wish that there was maybe a way to store the rifles when not in use onto the side skirts, how they kind of do like with the actual Gundam and with the HD, for example, of course. But I do have to say, really, really happy with this. I think it looks fantastic. That looks really, really nice. So definitely happy with that one. The only other thing that I wish it was maybe added is if this had a hard point up underneath there so that you could use this base from the backpack to be able to display this elevated like that. I think would look really, really cool. Very easy to do. All you'd have to do is just drill a 3mm hole right up in there, and you could put this on this display, and I think that would actually look really nice. But okay, moving on. Up next then, we've got number 293, the Wing Gundam here, and this is just going to be the original TV version Wing Gundam, it looks like. Once again, we've got some detail images here in our three main colors, which again is just kind of lead Gundam, red, blue, and yellow. A tricolor scheme here for the Wing Gundam, of course. On the back side, no like special detail image or anything for this because it doesn't have any special gimmick, I guess. I wonder how difficult it would be for them to include transformation parts for this, maybe some other set later on or something. I don't think that we're going to get that. Typically, we don't get a whole lot of transforming gimmicks in the Converge line of any kind, I think, but would be kind of interesting. We've got some information there in Japanese, the lineup, and inside the box, of course, aside from the figure, we'll have some more gum too. But let's go ahead and pop this out here. It feels like quite dense, a lot of stuff in here. Got our wings, which are unfortunately not packaged with the cardboard to keep them straight, so hopefully those are pretty straight, and they look to be, so that's good. We got the shield, and on the cardboard here we've got the rifle, the V-fin, the stand, and then the main body. All right, here it is, looking very nice. That metallic green there for the chest, it looks really good. I do have to say, a little bit interesting proportions for this one. Looking at this, I mean, and I've seen my fair share of Gundam Converge figures, kind of have an idea of how generally the proportions look, and through the years the proportions have adjusted a little bit from like some of the earlier releases, but this one does look particularly very round in the head. It's like this like big melon head, which does look a little bit different just proportionally. I kind of wish that they would have emphasized maybe the like kind of wings on the side of the head a little bit more, had those maybe a little bit more pronounced, just in terms of making this somewhat SD or anyway altered proportions version of the Wing Gundam. But here on the back you can see a lot of prime real estate here for painting and or pen aligning in some of these details around here on the back, especially on the wings there as well, because the wings, you know, the back side, maybe you're not too worried about that, but at least on the front side of the wings too, there's some nice detail on there that could be pen aligned in. At least the shield does look good. The beam rifle there being in that dark gunmetal also looks nice. And yeah, just painting in, filling in some of these little details here, like the Vulcans inside the chest vents in there. Some of these details on here would look really nice painted in, I have to say. So overall, another good looking figure. It's just the head proportions are just a bit odd, but you have that clear green for the eyes and then metallic green up there for the head camera as well. That all looks pretty good. Not on the back side though. And then just a closer up look here at all the details on the back. It looks nice. And that brings us to numbers 294 and 295 here with the two versions of the Yakudoga design that I absolutely love. So really happy to have these. Interestingly, a lot of times with these Converge figures in a set where it's basically just like a recolor, like we saw in set 24 where we had the Rigazi, the unicorn version, and the original version, it was just a recolor. There was not actually anything different in terms of the actual parts. As we know with these though, the head crest part is actually different between these two designs, so they'll have a different head, and they also have a different weapon. So we have the Gatling gun and the rifle here respectively for those. So not only are they recolors, but we do have some different parts there for these, so that should make them pretty nice. Around on the back side of the box is just going to be the same thing here, and I would assume that those parts are also interchangeable. So say for example you wanted to swap the guns on them for whatever reason, obviously I think that you would not have any trouble doing that. Got some information about these, which also looks to be different, so it's not just copy and pasted info there. You do have different information for those two respectively. And just to pop open Guineas here first to give us an idea of how these are packaged. We've got the main suit, the stand, cardboard protecting the crest, the head crest, and the rifle, and then the shield part right there. All right, and put together here they are. Really love how the figures, and just speaking about the proportions, like we were talking about the proportions of the Wing Gundam, I love how the proportions of these really capture the bulkiness of these suits too, just kind of now crammed down into this somewhat SD proportions. These look absolutely amazing. And just to focus in here on some of the finer points of Guinea's version here, you have that nice painted gold Neo Zeon crest there on the shield. That looks fantastic. Around here on the back, a lot of really great details. So again, painting in some of these details is going to make this look even better. And here on the front, it looks really nice. I have a little bit of like some flash up there at the top of the crest, so could like try to sand that down a little bit, and then would have to touch up the paint a little bit. So maybe just kind of depends on if you really were so inclined to try to fix something like that or not. And again, just like proportionally, I love how tall the head crest is, sticking up way up high like that. It does look really nice. And the mono eye you are able to rotate. So if we just kind of pop off the head here, you have to take off the kind of mask here on the front. And I will say I'm not really super happy with the color used for the mono eye. It's basically just like a silver. It's very, very subtly pink, I guess, but I think just a kind of standard, more metallic pink would look good. So I'm just gonna take a Gundam marker later and just kind of dot that with some metallic pink Gundam marker. But you can rotate that a little bit to either the left or the right side. Just replace the mask part back on here, and you can do that with both of these, of course. And then just a little bit about the articulation, you can somewhat move the head a little bit. The kind of beak of the mask is getting in the way a little bit there. Also, these binders up on the shoulders you can also rotate here. But like I said, articulation is not really a feature, but just to kind of highlight that, because on this side in particular you kind of have to rotate that back a little bit just to kind of be out of the way of the shield there. But this looks really, really nice. And then for the other version here, for Kess's version, again, the head crest looks nice up there on the top. You can rotate the mono eye. The binders here being in yellow and gray rather than just a single yellow color there, Does look really good. You still have that painted gold for the Neo Zeon emblem there on the shield. Really, really nice detail all around up underneath the feet here as well. A lot of really great detail up there. And of course, that Gatling gun weapon looking so cool there. So that looks really, really good. Really happy with how these look. And with that, that brings us to 296, the ball twin set here. So wrapping things up with the balls. Doesn't look like we're going to have any variants as far as the cannon goes. We're just going to have the standard cannon on there, which I believe is what, 180 millimeter? I might be wrong about that, and I'm not sure if it's going to say here on the back. It doesn't look like it anyway, but you have that just kind of standard ball cannon up there on the top, and hopefully it looks like maybe some clear green parts for the kind of window on the front. It's not an eye anyway, but that's my hope. Only one way to find out. Let's go ahead and pop the box and see what our balls look like. Also interested about the size of these, how big I should expect these to be, or big or small anyway. And they're definitely smaller than I expected, I guess, like proportionally. And I should say, these are definitely not in any particular scale, just because the Yakudoga would be much larger than the Wing Gundam if these were actually true to scale. And as you can see, they're all just kind of in a standard scale. So it is kind of interesting that they made the balls so much smaller in comparison. And let me get these out of here so that I can show you how they're going to look side by side. And so, all right, here they are on the stand. And so, yeah, just compared to like the Yakudoga here, you can see they are definitely a lot smaller, which is very interesting. And on the note of interesting features about this set, it's interesting that they're both attached onto a single base here. I was kind of expecting kind of like what we saw with the backpack before, just kind of like two of these individual bases, something like that. But they're going to be attached onto one single base, which I do kind of like. I think that's ultimately, if I would have had the choice, this is probably what I would have preferred. It's just not what I was expecting. And they are obviously set at different heights there, which I think is pretty good. And you can adjust the angle, basically just rotating these as to how they're connected onto there. And awesome to see that there is a clear part there for the window, and it does look really nice. It's like a clear part with some really nice detail in there, so that looks really good. A lot of really great detail again, but the main bodies and the weapons, the cannon on the top, are going to be exactly the same. So these two are completely interchangeable, nothing different about them. I do kind of wish that there maybe would have been something different if they would have come with two different cannons. Two different type of armaments there on the top, I think really would have been nice. So a very interesting set here for sure. I'm not sure, again, it's really nice to have two of them in a set like this. I think it looks really good, and just like size wise, it makes sense that they would be smaller. That's just kind of how they are in the anime, right? But I think it also maybe could have been cool to have one in just like a larger size, something more similar to like the standard size of a Converge figure. And maybe just rather than including two full balls in a set, but just be one ball, it's a little bit larger size, and then have multiple cannon options for it. Maybe have two different cannon options for the top. That also could have been cool. Anyway, that's not what we got. This is what we got. So let me know your guys' opinions on that. As we're wrapping up the review here, taking a look at the full set. Anxious to hear you guys' thoughts. There's a lot of really great stuff in here. Really, really like how awesome the Strike Freedom looks, the Mighty Strike Freedom, or just the Strike Freedom Spec 2, however you might want to call it. The Yakudogas, of course, I love. Really love the balls as well here. Very interesting set for sure. And the Wing Gundam, probably my least favorite amongst this set. It still looks great. Definitely a nice inclusion, of course, especially for those of you guys who are fans of the Wing Gundam or fans of the series in general. For me, you know, I have that nostalgia for the series. In general, the standard, like original TV version Wing Gundam is probably like my least favorite design among that entire series. So it's not really one that I get super excited about, but the Converge figure is a nice one to have for the collection. So let me know your favorites from this set in the comment section down below. And of course, if you guys do have any other further questions or comments related to these, you can let me know in the comment section. I do have the latest Converge Plus set that we're going to be taking a look at soon as well. So stay tuned for that. Make sure that you guys are subscribed if you're not subscribed, so that you don't miss that review coming up soon. And if you guys do want to check out some Converge figures for yourself, some sets, you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. We've got some in stock there and some more coming later in the future. But obviously there on the site, you can find all sorts of other great Gunpla and figures and tools, paints and supplies and everything else. So check the link in the video description. And as always, guys, thank you so much for all of your support. Till next time, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.